I like to think I'm always keen to try new things, as long as it doesn't involve my bottom. Trust me, whatever you think I'm missing out on, I'm quite content with the maximum amount of entertainment value that can be extracted from my butthole being doing crosswords on the toilet. Nobody else is talking about your butthole, yards. I know, I'm just saying. Anyway, the point is, I'd never played a Dragon Quest game before, but I thought I'd give the new one a go, which obviously means I can't say if it's a good Dragon Quest game, but I can certainly compare it to other games and to objects being pushed at my butthole. One thing I did know about Dragon Quest going in is that Japanese people go double downward dog bonkers for it. Like unofficial public holiday every time one comes out bonkers, putting it in impact terms right up there with terrorist strikes and dead princesses. But having played Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age, and yes, I am so going to slowly pervert that subtitle as this review goes on, I am now slightly concerned about the Japanese, as I would about a school friend who confides that they have a crush on the dinner lady, knowing they're going to be driven to suicide by mockery within a week. By me. Like the dinner lady, Dragon Quest's appeal seems to lie in it being a nice, comfortable, unthreatening place, always good for an extra helping of dumplings if you put in the right words. The plot of Dragon Quest XI, Emissions of an Infected Arse, is you are in generic JRPG swords and sorcery fantasy world, east of Java. You are the last surviving heir of a deposed royal house who was found as a baby and adopted by peasant farmers. There's a weird birthmark on your hand that magic occasionally comes out of, and you grow into a strong, handsome lad with a girl's haircut. So when you come of age, your adoptive parent takes you aside and says, look, let's not beat around the bush. You couldn't be more obviously a destined fantasy hero if your high school graduation picture was painted by Boris Vallejo. Sadly, there doesn't seem to be any global crisis going on at the moment that would require a destined hero, so why don't you just wander around the countryside for a bit and destiny will presumably strike at some point. I'm not being dismissive here, that's literally how we start. You go to the royal castle on the off chance that a kidnapped princess needs rescuing but get thrown in the dungeon because the king's played too many Elder Scrolls games and thinks that's just what you do with destined heroes. We break out within minutes and the plot becomes go from city to city looking for the person who isn't one of the 5 or 6 endlessly repeated NPC models, recruit them to your party, then do whatever they want to do until the next one comes along. By this method, we enlist to our cause a toddler, 2 hotties, an old man, a comedy stereotype of a homosexual, and an actual homosexual. And after the last party member joins, they say, what do you mean Destiny hasn't struck yet? Alright, let's just gather the 6 Destiny balls, that'll wake the fucker up. I only had 3 or 4 days to play the game in, so I was under no illusion that I'd finished the fucking thing, and I dropped out after the 3rd or 4th ball, about 20 hours in, and still no sign of a big villain. A couple of Darth Vaders, but no Palpatines, you know. But you can see what I mean about comfortable and non-threatening, at least the plot is. Couldn't say the same for the visual design. The characters all remind me of those anime cosplayers who wear masks with anime faces drawn on to look more open quotes authentic. The kind that look like if you woke in the night and saw them at the foot of your bed, it'd be the last thing you experienced before blackness and the sound of tearing cartilage. Well, let's be accepting of cultural differences, which are presumably why pressing start doesn't open the pause menu but turns on auto-run mode. I wouldn't think an auto-run mode would be much use in an RPG. The overworld can be big, but it's full of random encounters, so it's not like you can just point yourself at your destination and then nip off for a quick tea ceremony. Gameplay-wise, Dragon Quest XI Errors of an Illicit Anus embodies a nostalgic if it ain't broke don't mentally progress past the age of 12 attitude with a simple, heavily text-based retro turn-based combat system. Although you can move your character freely around the battle space, possibly as a joke, it seems to be a feature put in for very superstitious people who want to convince themselves that serpentining will actually affect whether or not malicious chimp A will whiff his handful of feces attack, or for very easily amused people who want to stand behind the enemy during battle so that their alert, hunched forward pose can become part of a hilarious, suggestive tableau. The funny thing about random battles in Dragon Quest XI Elegies of Eddie the Eagle Edwards is that you only ever get into them because you choose to. Random enemies only notice you if you accidentally stumble up one of their nostrils, and you can run faster than them anyway. Even during the what I will only call stealth sections if a small dog nervously pissing on a cello is a string quartet, the armed fanatics convinced that you are the spawn of Satan get winded and stop pursuing you after chasing you the approximate length of my dick. You can literally sprint unmolested through an entire dungeon and back just to use the save point before you take on the boss, but if you don't get into random battles then you'll be severely underleveled for the fights you have to do. So while the game doesn't force us to run a gauntlet of cricket bats to the arse, it has laid a cricket bat down in front of us and locked the door with a special mechanism that will only open if we fill a jar with our tears. I think it's fair to say that Dragon Quest XI Erections of an Aggressive Emu isn't going to light any fires as an innovative or challenging work. I mean, it's not even half-heartedly clicking an empty barbecue lighter, but that's precisely not what it's setting out to do, and you know what? I think I respect that, as I sailed inexorably through this entirely obvious plot that at times feels like we're playing a D&D campaign that the DM is making up on the spot in the brief moments when he can get off the phone to his divorce lawyer, visiting the standard environments, grasslands, desert, ocean, grasslands, ocean again, fighting twee monsters that all seem carefully designed to be potentially made into plushies to sell on Etsy. I felt myself being taken in. I was sinking down into a cozy warm bath where I could doze blissfully off to a fluffy dream world where no perceptions are being challenged but everything's just nice. But I think it worth mentioning that I could only enter this state after I had muted the music, or to give it its proper name, the fucking music. Yeah, I get the game's dedicated to the retro nostalgia thing, hence the bleep bloop 8-bit battle sounds, and that's why a lot of the music sounds like it came from a 16-bit era MIDI synthesizer, but it also sounds like someone took that synthesizer, turned to the blarp setting to 100%, and proceeded to stomp on it like a grape in a French vineyard. It's minute-long loop after minute-long loop of string and brass sections honking like pigs queuing up to have their throats cut. Let that be the lesson, viewers. Cozier place as the past may seem, don't forget it also contains Potato Famine's Hitler and synth music.